everybody, welcome to Bean of the Week. So today I'm going to be using garbanzo beans from Rancho Gordo to make our recipes. I'm making 2 recipes today. So if you want to cook along with me, I sent you, I put it on the event, the ingredients for both of the recipes, but I have already cooked the garbanzo beans, so they are already ready, so we don't have to start cooking them from scratch because you have to soak them for 24 hours. I'm going to get them out of the fridge here. I should have done this before the video, but I didn't. I've got them. I chilled them in the refrigerator because we're making hummus, and you don't really want to eat hot hummus. It's not that good hot, so I have them ready. And how I cooked my garbanzo beans, my favorite way to cook them is to cook them in the Instant Pot. So I know I always tell you that I like to cook everything on the stove top, but for the hummus, because you want it really soft, you want the garbanzo beans really soft, I found the Instant Pot really works well. And so I soak them for 24 hours in lots of water because they will absorb the water. And then I could put them in the Instant Pot for 18 minutes and then let it naturally release, and they get really soft. And how you know they're really soft is when you squish them, they flatten really easily. So they're not hard like the ones in the can. I swear the ones in the can are so hard. You know what I'm talking about. You know, you can't press those with your fingers. So I like these better. Hi, Terry Malnar. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Donna. So I like to cook them till they're really soft. I cooked them all the same way because I didn't want to cook 2 different batches, but for the other recipe, they probably didn't need to be quite that soft, but it's not going to hurt anything. I think the Rancho Gordo's information for how to cook garbanzo beans in the Instant Pot that you're not going to use for hummus, that you're just going to use for regular cooking, is probably 10 minutes. So if you were not going to make hummus and you were just going to make the quinoa with garbanzo beans, the Asian lettuce wraps, then cook your garbanzo beans for only about 10 minutes in the Instant Pot. But to get them really soft, I cooked them for 18 minutes. So I'm gonna dump them here in my food processor. Let's get this over here where you can see what I'm doing. I've got my food processor set up here. This is 4 cups of cooked garbanzo beans. You guys have probably seen me make hummus a million times because I've made it before. I have a YouTube video making hummus. The reason I'm making it today is because I changed it up a little bit, and I'm making roasted garlic hummus. So what I did was, I've already roasted my garlic and gotten it out of the heads, or out of the, what do you call it? Out of the skins. And the reason I did this before the video is because it's really messy. Your hands get all sticky. So this is the result of roasting a whole head of garlic, or a bulb of garlic, made this much in the bigger pile, and then this garlic head was smaller, and I got this much out of that one. What you do is you just wrap it in foil. I wrapped it in foil tightly, kind of double layer, put it at 400 degrees for 1 hour, and then I came up with this really delicious roasted garlic. I'm going to put this 1 pile in here, and I'm going to start with that because I usually don't use roasted garlic. So I'm afraid if I put both piles of roasted garlic in here, it's going to be too strong. I can always add more, but you can't take it out. I see Melissa's on there. Carol Carter. Hi, Carol. Jenna, Melinda. Thank you guys for watching this. So I'm going to take my tahini, and a lot of you probably know that I use this special tahini. It's called Soom, S-O-O-M. See if you can see that, Soom tahini. It's in my Amazon store. You can just search my Amazon store now and just search Chef Julia Dunaway Amazon store, and it's searchable, and it'll come up. Hi, Polly. Julia Buttermore, hello. I guess you're still in town. I was in your area today. My dentist is right across the street from where you live. I have a temporary crown for my root canal that I had for having a cracked tooth, just what you need, a root canal and a crown. Well, the crown broke up, so I had to get a temporary crown replaced. Tell you what, this whole tooth thing has taken up a lot of my time, but I'm so blessed that I can get treatment for it, so I shouldn't complain. Okay, so I put 1/3 cup of the Sum tahini. Remember, it's this. You can order it on Amazon. I know there are lots of other kinds of tahini, so you don't have to use the Sum tahini, but it tastes really good. That's why I use it. I really like the flavor of it. I like the texture of it. It doesn't require a ton of stirring. It's just a good all-around tahini. So I put 1 head of garlic roasted in here, 1/3 cup of tahini, 4 cups of cooked chickpeas, cooked until they're really soft. Not just, you know, cooked until they're like canned chickpeas, which are hard. To me, they're too hard. But cooked until they're nice and soft. And I've got my lemon. I'm going to cut it in half over here. And then I'm going to squeeze it into a bowl before I put it in this food processor, because I can see it's got quite a few seeds. I don't want to have a lot of seeds in my hummus. That's not very appetizing. So I'm going to use this whole lemon. Hi Cheryl, hi Evelyn. I'm so glad you guys are watching. I have not been able to do a bean of the week in a while because things have been happening. Like my poor dog has had all these vet appointments, and then I had my tooth cracked, and all of a sudden I had a bunch of dental appointments for root canals. Talk about no fun. Okay, so I've got the juice of 1 lemon. I don't have my strainer handy, so I'm just gonna strain it through my hand, which is clean. Besides that, I'm the only one eating this hummus, I guarantee you, unless I can bring it to a friend, but usually I'm the only one who eats it. My husband doesn't like my hummus. Can you believe that? I'm gonna get a paper towel. He'll eat store-bought hummus from the grocery store, Central Market, but he doesn't like this hummus, I guess because it doesn't have oil in it. I don't know. I can't understand it. I think it's delicious. I could eat it every day. Okay, I'm gonna put a teaspoon of salt in it. Now I know some of you are probably thinking that's way too much salt, but that's how I like it. I like it to have salt, and then you can put some ground pepper in it. This is freshly ground pepper. I think that makes it taste good. Now some of my followers tell me to put cumin in it. So today I'm gonna put like 1/2 teaspoon of cumin in it. I've heard that. I think Melanie Drescher told me to put cumin in it. Let's see, let's see if anybody new has come on. Nope, same people, Cheryl. Okay, so I'm gonna put 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And then another thing you can put in here is cayenne pepper, just a sprinkle. You don't wanna, you can overwhelm stuff really easily. I got something on my arm that wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, so I'm not gonna not adding anything else. I'm not gonna add any liquid yet, but I have it ready. So what I have here is I have my chickpea. So I saved the chickpea cooking liquid, and I'm gonna be ready to put it in here, but not a lot. So I've got a little 1/8 cup measuring. So I'm gonna turn this on. Sorry about the noise. I'm gonna add 1/8 cup of the cooking liquid. Turn it back on. Oops. That did it. I'm gonna get a tasting spoon. So I'm just gonna taste it. Let's see, I see, Jenna, did you make your garbanzo beans in the Instant Pot? Yes, I did, Jenna. I made them, I soaked them for 24 hours, and then I put them in the Instant Pot with water to cover by a couple inches, and I cooked them for 18 minutes and let them naturally release. And what that does is it makes them really, really soft, and they're perfect for hummus. I know that you can also make them other ways. Okay, let's see how 1/8 of a cup of chickpea liquid, it's still kind of, let's see, hi Ellen Murphy, it's still kind of thick. See, it doesn't really, it's not that texture that we want. But be careful about adding too much of the liquid at one time because you can make it too runny. So I'm gonna add 1 more 1/8 of a cup. So the total so far is 1/4 of a cup. I'm just gonna let it run, so you're gonna have to bear with me because we have to let it run for a minute or so. Sorry about, it's kind of boring to watch someone make hummus, but the only way I know to really show you is to make it in front of you. So here's my texture. Okay, so this is much better. This is a lot fluffier, and it's still thick, but it's not like sticking to the spoon. So I think we can stop here. But you can keep processing it a little bit longer, and I'll probably process it a little bit longer after the video. It's really smooth now, but instead of me continuing to process it, I'm going to just stop here. And that was plenty of garlic, okay? That is so good. So I'm gonna recap what was in here. Let's see if somebody has a question. If you have a question, let me know what we've done so far. So just to tell you, I had a bulb or a head of garlic. I roasted it in foil for an hour at 400 degrees, and then to get the garlic out, you have to really press hard, and it will just pour out of the head of garlic, but it's very messy. It'll get your hands real sticky, so just be prepared. But you can get a lot of it out, and some of the garlic skin will stick. I could see little pieces that I missed, but just remember, it's gonna be sticky and messy, but it comes out. Phil says, I'm glad you made enough for everyone. I made a lot. If you were here, you could sample it. But, you know, sometimes I bring it to my walking buddies in the morning. You know, one of them, Jackie Barnes, loves hummus. So if I brought her a container of hummus, she'd be happy. I bet Julia Buttermore would be happy too, but I don't think she's gonna be walking with me anytime soon. So anyway, the hummus is done. I'm gonna probably let it go for a couple more minutes after the video is over, but I don't want to spend any more time watching the food processor during this video. But the very simple part was roasted garlic, or you could use a couple cloves of raw garlic, a fresh lemon, a whole fresh lemon, the really, really good Sum tahini, the best tahini. Let's see, Carol says you can get it with a knife too. The roasted garlic is good on bread or potatoes. Yeah, I bet it is. It's so mellow when you roast it. Good tahini. I use kosher salt. So I used a teaspoon of salt, 4 cups of garbanzo beans, and then this time I added a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin powder and a sprinkle of cayenne pepper and a little bit of freshly ground pepper, okay? It is absolutely incredible. So how do I eat hummus? If you're new to this plant-based way of eating, the best way to eat it is with vegetables. So normally, oops, I'm dropping my dirty vegetable peelings in here. Don't do that. Usually what I do is I get these carrots that have the stems or the tops attached. They're the best carrots. They're sweet and fresh and really good, and it makes a big difference. I know you're probably thinking, well, you know, they make those carrots that you can buy. I keep getting hummus on my arm. But I know they make carrots that you can buy that have, they're already peeled and cut up, and baby carrots. I think those things taste terrible. They are so sometimes watery and bitter. These are Mary's Gone crackers. These are no oil crackers. So those of you new to whole food plant-based, they're multigrain, whole grain. They're pretty healthy, so we can, you know, take a Mary's Gone crackers. That is so good. So whether you use carrots or crackers, just remember, you know, make your hummus. Don't make it too thin. Excuse me. I've seen people make the mistake of pouring in their liquid without really taking the time to check their hummus. They think, oh, well, the recipe said 1/4 cup of liquid. And they throw that in, but they didn't drain their chickpeas very well. So they had liquid in the chickpeas they didn't know about. So then all of a sudden they end up with, you know, this real watery hummus. I've done it myself, that's why I know. So, excuse me. So if you don't want watery hummus, then add your liquid gradually and be sure you drained all the water out of your chickpeas before you start making the hummus. Don't just throw them in right out of the pot thinking, well, they don't have that much liquid in them, because every bit of liquid will go toward making your hummus runny. Okay, now this hummus will keep, I swear to you, for a week. I've made it before and it was still good like 7 days later. I usually try to use it up. I like to use stuff up in 5 days though. So it will keep for at least 5 days for sure. And I use hummus on all kinds of stuff like sandwiches. There is nothing better than some kind of compliant bread like Dave's 21 grain bread or Ezekiel bread, or there's some companies that make a whole grain, whole wheat bread that doesn't have oil in it. Whole Foods has a brand called Heartland. Toast your bread, put some hummus on there and some avocado, lettuce, and tomato, red onion, whatever you like, and make a summer sandwich with hummus as the base. Carol says, love veg sandwiches with hummus. Yeah, they're great. Hi, Lynn. But yeah, make yourself a hummus sandwich, or you can take a baked potato, sweet potato or white potato, bake it, and then open it up and put a dollop of hummus in it. And then top it with some vegetables, broccoli or raw vegetables, tomatoes, cut up bell peppers. I've put all kinds of stuff on a potato with hummus. I can also put it on my salad, just a regular dinner salad with a dollop of hummus. It's kind of like the dressing. Or you can thin the hummus down with a little vinegar and make it the dressing. And then I like to also put it with brown rice, like a burrito bowl. So take some beans. I always have frozen beans from Rancho Gordo cooking videos. And then take some brown rice. You can use frozen brown rice if that's easier. Throw some frozen brown rice in a bowl on top of some greens. Put a scoop of hummus on there and some raw vegetables, and you have a delicious meal right there. Just beans, hummus, rice, and vegetables. So I find lots of ways to use the hummus so it never goes to waste. And then also, like I said, I have friends that I could always give them plenty of hummus. They'll eat it. They don't mind at all. So I'm going to put this up and get to the next recipe. You're getting 2 for 1 today. Put this back here. So the next recipe is a way to use up some quinoa that I have. So I bought this quinoa at Costco. I'm a sucker for Costco samplings. I don't know why. One day they were giving out samples of this quinoa, and the guy was saying, oh, it's really good. You just boil it in water. It's in a boiled bag like this. And you put the bag in water and it boils and you don't have to make a big mess. And then you're supposed to add this packet of seasoning. It's like a lemon seasoning. Well, I bought this thing and the seasoning is horrible. The seasoning is the most bitter, horrible tasting seasoning. It has dehydrated lemon peel and dehydrated celery, and it's very bitter. So I made it one time with the lemon powder stuff, and I said, ugh, this is awful. I'm just gonna make the quinoa without the powder seasoning. And so the quinoa, it actually works really well. You just put it in boiling water for 13 minutes. Now, why would you want to do this instead of buy hummus or buy quinoa? Well, quinoa, you have to rinse it really well. It tastes better if you soak it. It's kind of a lot of trouble sometimes. So let's say you just walked in the door and you're tired and hungry and you still have a bunch of stuff to do, so you can just boil some water and throw this in there. And 2 of these little packets made this big bowl of quinoa, which is quite a bit. This is like 2 cups of quinoa from 2 of these little packets. So 1 packet makes about a cup, which I thought was pretty good. So are there other kinds of quinoa you can make? Yeah, Rancho Gordo actually had quinoa that they sent out in one of their boxes not too long ago. And it was a black quinoa, and it was pretty good. So we could have used that instead of this one, but because I bought that at my weak moment at Costco. Does anyone ever do that? You guys chime in and tell me, have you ever bought anything at Costco that then you later thought, why did I buy that? I don't need that. Excuse me. I have so many dried grains in my pantry that I haven't been using. I don't need any more, so that was kind of dumb. So I'm just going to add some things to the quinoa because we're making Asian lettuce wraps. So really, they're not really wraps. They're going to be like lettuce cups, but we're going to call them wraps. So we're going to add about 1/2 of this red bell pepper. So I'm just, well, let me do this. Let me cut off 2 sides of it. That's an easy way to get 1/2 of a bell pepper is cut the sides off of it instead of try to scoop out all the seeds. Let's see, let me get you a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I'm using my kitchen differently today to see if I can get the lighting okay. And I think it's working out good. Evelyn said, I've saved a lot of money by canceling my Costco card. Yes, Evelyn. You can spend a lot of money at Costco and waste stuff. I rarely buy food at Costco because it's always in such large quantities. And really at my house, mainly it's my husband and I. And a lot of the stuff that I would buy there, he doesn't even eat. You know, so it was just like, I couldn't eat it all. So, you know, they have these mega bags of fruits and vegetables, and it's just too much. So I rarely buy any big things in bulk. The main thing I buy at Costco is blueberries for my smoothies. And what else do I buy there? Flaxseed, chia seeds, stuff like that. I don't really buy much of the food. So I'm chopping this bell pepper up really small. I'm like mincing it. It's smaller than diced, okay? And I'm also cutting out this white part. So you don't want the white part to be in your bell pepper because it's kind of, it doesn't look good. It doesn't taste very good. And then what I'm doing is I'm cutting it into very thin strips. And I'm cutting it on the rough side because I find that the knife doesn't slip around on the inside part of the bell pepper, whereas the outside part of the bell pepper is slippery because it's very smooth. So, you know, if your knife isn't sharp, especially, it can slip around. Hey, Julie. Let's see. Bronge and Sandy. Thanks for watching. I think stars are enabled. So Facebook has a thing called stars. If you buy some stars, they're a penny each. So it's not a lot of money, but Facebook does send me a payment every month, which is so funny. And it has a little category for you earned whatever, $5 from stars. But I always tell people what that is because they're curious, like, what does that mean? So if you're feeling generous and you want to pay for my video, then you can send me stars, but only if you want to. It's certainly not a big deal. But I always smile if somebody does because I think it's fun. Okay, so I'm going to put in this 1/2 of a red bell pepper into the quinoa that's cooked and it's cooled because I did this a little while ago. So I'm gonna just set the ingredients in it. I'm not gonna mix them up yet. It called for 1/4 of a cup of red onion. And this is from my garden, which is really cool. And where I got this recipe, and I modified it some, but I attended a conference this weekend, and there was a person who did a presentation called Culinary Medicine, and she made some food samples. And it was kind of cool because I actually got to watch someone demonstrate a recipe, and it was something I could actually eat. It was so good, and it was this quinoa lettuce wraps. And so she gave us the recipe, and I was just gonna make it today for my dinner because I liked it so much. And then I was thinking about bean of the week and whether I would do it or not, and I thought, hey, that recipe had garbanzo beans in it, her recipe, and I needed to make some hummus because I like to have a batch of hummus around. So I thought, hey, I'll do my Facebook bean of the week and I'll make the things I would have made anyway. So you guys are just watching me make my food for this week, which is this quinoa that I could eat several times, and then the hummus, which I make all the time. I make it, probably don't make it every single week, but I probably make it every other week because I don't want to get tired of it. So I'm slicing my little red onion and then dicing it really tiny, kind of mincing it, because we don't want to have any big giant pieces of onion in here. So, and this is a small red onion, so the pieces are small anyway. So what I did, I was busy talking, is I made a horizontal cut in it, and then I cut along the lines of the onion in very thin strips. Let's see if there's a question. Hi, Lynn. I'm glad you guys are watching. You probably thought I'd given up on bean of the week. It's been so long since I've done one. I thought, well, nobody's even gonna watch. They probably thought I was done doing them. But I tell you, this this life of mine has been hectic, very hectic. Okay, I'm just chopping these up really small. So now I'm gonna put my tiny little pieces of red onion in here. It smells really good. My red onion is not bitter because I grew it, and it doesn't tend to be very strong and bitter. Like some onions are pretty bitter. But let's say that you don't like, and so far I've got red bell pepper and onions and quinoa. Let's say that you don't like the taste of sharp, fresh onion. You can put your onion in water or vinegar and let it soak for a few minutes, and that will take that kind of sting out of the onions. So a lot of people do that just because they don't like the strong taste of onions. Okay, now we're gonna put a couple of tablespoons of cilantro. Oh, I left my cilantro in the other room. I'll get it last. Julia said, I loved that wrap. Ate it for breakfast yesterday. Are you making the sauce today? Yes, Julia. You were at the conference. Hey, I'm gonna go get my cilantro. Yeah, Julia Buttermore was at the same conference, and she attended the culinary medicine, and that she is a PhD instructor from TCU, and she made this and gave us generous samples, but I didn't get to eat mine because I gave it to somebody who didn't get to eat lunch. So I had planned on taking it with me so I could have it, but then I never got to eat it. So then I had the recipe. I took a photo of the recipe on the screen and said, I'm gonna make that when I get home because that's something that tasted really good, and I had all the ingredients. I knew I had to use up the quinoa that I had gotten from Costco. So I thought, I'm gonna use that crazy quinoa that's taken up a lot of space. Okay, so I've got my pile of cilantro here. I took it off the stems, and I'm just gonna chop it up kind of rough. Doesn't have to be tiny. It can be, you know, doesn't have to be minced really small, but chopped, because you don't want giant pieces of cilantro in your salad. Okay, so I got that in here. We need a little garlic, 4 cloves of garlic. These are just cloves of garlic. I cut off the hard end, and then I just smash it. And then the skin comes right off. Works every time. Easy way to peel garlic. Otherwise, I don't know, it takes a long time to peel it. And I know it always comes up that people will say, well, you know, you can buy garlic already peeled in a container. Well, every time somebody has messed with the food to make it easier for us, it loses flavor. So that garlic that's been sitting around already peeled in a jar is not going to taste as good as your freshly peeled garlic. I'm only going to use 3 cloves. I think 4 might be a little too many. But if you like a strong garlic flavor, use 4. And also, whenever you have garlic and it has a green stem in the middle of it, like this garlic has a little green stem, take that out, because this is very bitter. If you leave that in your garlic will have kind of a bad taste. So, and you know, there's nothing wrong with your garlic if it has that in there. It's just starting to sprout a little bit. That's not going to hurt anything, but be sure and take it out. I find it, not all the time, but sometimes I'll find that in my garlic. Also, using a garlic press. I never use a garlic press because it changes the texture and does something weird to the garlic. It like makes it, I think it brings out the flavor in the garlic in not a good way. I can't really describe it, but I've heard from professional chefs all the time that they would never use a garlic press because it changes the consistency of the garlic in a way that makes it taste bad. When you just chop up your garlic, it's not watery. But if you look at the garlic that came through the press, it's all soft and kind of pureed. We don't want that in our recipes. We want it to be whole. Okay, so I've got the garlic in here, and the last ingredient is lime juice. So I've got a nice lime. So this is actually a really quick recipe. In the scheme of things, if you had those boil-in bags, like what I showed you, oh, I put my bowl, I need to get it. If you had those bags and you just threw them in hot water, that would be really quick. Let's see, Christine said, this is Christine from Australia. Hope Taro is doing well. Well, would you like to see him? Who wants to say hi to Taro? Taro is my boxer who has cancer. And Taro has had surgery to remove his tumor. His tumor is completely gone with margins, not very big, but margins. And he starts radiation treatment tomorrow morning. So I'm taking him early in the morning for radiation. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this last thing and then we'll look at my little sweet baby. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of that freshly squeezed lime juice in here. And set that aside. And we're gonna mix this up and then we'll look at Taro. So here's our bell pepper, garlic, red onion, quinoa, lime juice, and that's it. We didn't put anything else in. I didn't put any salt or anything because I'm trying not to add a lot of salt, but I think I will add a little bit of sea salt and freshly ground pepper. It looks beautiful, look at that. It's so colorful and summery and delicious. So I have some sea salt right here. I'm gonna just put a little bit in. You can always put some when you get ready to eat it. Taro, come here, buddy. Taro, come here, boy. And then here's my freshly ground black pepper. Come here, honey. Come here, everybody wants to see you. Everybody wants to see you, boy. There he is. Here he is. He's doing well. He's sniffing around saying, Mom, You called me over here. Where's my food? Here, I'll give him a garbanzo bean. You want a garbanzo bean? He likes garbanzo beans. Isn't that good? Here comes Mochi. Mochi said, hey, she's giving out food. Where's mine? Okay. Each dog got a garbanzo bean. But anyway, Taro is doing really well, and I need your prayers because we hope that Taro's radiation and chemotherapy is going to work and he's not going to have cancer, because his cancer, hemangiosarcoma, is a very aggressive, terrible, terrible type of cancer according to the oncologist. He has a cancer team. He has an oncologist, veterinary oncologist. He has a veterinary radiation specialist, and then he has a doctor, and they're all at this hospital, and they love him. And they're so good, and they tell us everything that's going on, but whenever he comes, he's got a whole bunch of people that love him, and they take such good care of him. So I just pray every day that Taro is going to be okay. And I took him for a walk this morning. He's finally at a point in his surgery where he can walk, because he was healed. He had all these stitches, and now they're healed. So I took him for a walk today, and he loved it. He had such a good time. So yes, if you ever ask me about Taro, I'm always happy to tell you, because I just love him dearly. He's my little sweet brown boy, I call him. Okay, here's our garbanzo beans. So I'm gonna add, it's about 1.5 cups of garbanzo beans, and they're cooked just like the ones I used in the hummus. So they're a little soft, but I really like them soft, because the canned garbanzo beans a lot of time to me are hard. I just think they're too hard. So I kind of like the soft consistency of these Instant Pot garbanzo beans. That doesn't bother me one bit that they're soft. But if you don't want them this soft, then you can cook them for less time, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Find the time that you like. And you can use canned garbanzo beans. I know some of you don't work from home like I do, so there's our filling. It looks delicious. I know not everybody has the ability to work from home and hang out in your kitchen all day with your boxer. But so, if you can't do that, then of course, use something quick. Let's see if there's a question. Gorgeous boy, fingers crossed for his recovery. Thank you, Emma. I really appreciate you guys. Oh, there's Carol. Carol Carter used to come here for classes back when we had classes. And she would sit, and Taro and Mochi both were crazy about her. They are, if she'd never come back to a class. But she would sit over in this very room is where I had my cooking classes, and she would spend the whole time petting the dogs, so they wouldn't leave her side. They just hung out with her the whole time. Who can blame them, right? Okay, we're gonna make the dressing. And because this is an Asian-inspired version of the quinoa garbanzo bean salad, we're using an Asian flavored dressing. But I know this recipe, just by looking at it, would work really well with just a balsamic vinaigrette. My balsamic vinaigrette is balsamic vinegar and tahini and water and mustard, so it doesn't have oil. But today we're going to make an Asian version. So we're going to put a tablespoon of maple syrup. And I'm just doing it in a bowl so I can use my whisk. And then later on I'll transfer it to a jar to store it in the fridge. So a tablespoon of maple syrup. You could also use date syrup. Anytime somebody uses maple syrup, you could use date syrup. 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. It's really reduced sodium soy sauce. It's still got a lot of sodium. Now I know some of you don't use soy sauce, so you could use liquid aminos, coconut aminos, whatever soy sauce substitute you like. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So it's kind of like a peanut sauce, which I thought was really good. I could have used it on my spring roll that I had for lunch. The peanut butter, or the sauce that came with this, I bought veggie spring rolls at the store, which were really good. They're just filled with carrots and cucumbers and lettuce and So they had a really good filling, but the peanut sauce that came with the spring rolls were full of oil. The sauce was full of oil. I just looked at the label and it said soy sauce, peanut butter, oil, canola oil. I was like, nope, I'm not eating that because I do not use oil. So that was a no. And let's see, a tablespoon of water. So I've got my water here. And I did not realize I needed another lime. So I'm gonna have to go get another lime. I will be right back. 1 second. You can tell I'm kind of rusty on making these videos. I didn't do a very good job of doing all my prep. I gotta get back in the habit of doing this so that I'm more organized. Okay, so this is my lime. I'm gonna wash it off real quick. So yeah, you know, even if the thing that you get is healthy at the store, there's usually something hidden that they don't tell you about, like oil in the peanut sauce. Okay, 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I'm just squeezing it into this container and it has the measurement on it. And 1 lime makes about 2 tablespoons of lime juice, typically. 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I got the water in here, and then sriracha. So in this case, only a teaspoon, but I'm gonna put a couple of teaspoons of sriracha because I like things a little bit spicier. I like to be able to get the stuff out of my spoon. Okay, here we go. And that's it for the sauce. And then I'm just gonna whisk it in my bowl till it's combined. And let me say a word about peanut butter. The peanut butter that I use is organic peanut butter, creamy, and the only ingredient in it 2 ingredients, peanuts and sea salt. And it really doesn't have a high, sodium is 100 milligrams for 2 tablespoons. So it does have a little salt, but I think that makes it taste pretty good. But watch your peanut butter, because a lot of peanut butter has hidden stuff in it, like it will have palm oil, and palm oil is one of those high in saturated fat oils that we really need to avoid. Oh, here it is, I'm looking for my container. So, you know, and commercial peanut butters, like, don't use Skippy and Peter Pan and all those peanut butters, because they're full of additives. They put sugar and palm oil and all kinds of stuff in here. Hi, Julie Buffington. Okay, I'm gonna put it in my jar and shake it really well. If you really want it smooth and nice, you can use your blender, but this seems to work really well. And it will start to get a little thicker as it sits, but right now it's fine. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put together our lettuce wraps. So I've got my sauce. Move this out of the way. I've got all my ingredients, and I'm just gonna set them right here on my table. Make it easy to see me do this. So I've already got my lettuce set on a plate. And this is the romaine, and it is from one of these boxes, which this is something I hadn't seen before until recently. And it's Organic Girl hearts of romaine, triple wash, just like your spring mix. And they're already, you know, they're hearts of romaine, so it's just the tender inside part, not the great big part on the outside that a lot of times we can't really find good pieces. So it comes like this, which I really like. And if you didn't want to take the time to fill, let's see, Yummy, hello from Fiji, hi. If you didn't want to take the time to stuff your lettuce with this filling, because it's kind of, you know, it's kind of time consuming. Come on, we know not everybody wants to play with their food this much because they don't have time. Who has time for this kind of, you know? I don't blame you if you said, nah, I don't want to do this. Then all you have to do is cut your lettuce up, tear it into pieces, however you want to do it, and put it in a bowl, and then top each person's serving with a scoop of this quinoa filling, and you're fine. It doesn't have to be super complicated. And for this, what I'll do is, this is going to be my dinner tonight. I will put them in the refrigerator, and then when it's time to eat, I'll have these beautiful lettuce cups. And I guarantee you my husband will not eat this. I don't know why, but it has raw onion in it. He'll say, oh no, I don't want that. No, thank you. So I don't know what he's going to eat, but it's not my problem. He's a big boy. He knows how to cook. I bought him some, when I was at the store this morning, I bought him some Hatch flour tortillas. And he saw them already, and he said, oh, I may have to make myself something with those Hatch tortillas. So he'll come up with something, but he does not like raw vegetables. Only in his salad, he will only eat salad with lettuce. He does not like tomatoes, onions, peppers, the typical things you put in salad. Nope, he doesn't like it. So it's easy to make him a salad. All right, so you saw what I did. I stuffed these romaine leaves with this mixture. Some of it's not so neat. It's just because the leaves are not laying there perfectly, but we don't need to spend a lot of time on that. All right, so now, get my paper towel. So I have these pretty lettuce leaves that are stuffed with my mixture right here. And we'll put the sauce on it. So you saw me make the sauce. I'm shaking it up because we want to make sure it's well combined. And I'll just use this spoon that I used. And I'm just going to take the spoon and drizzle it on top. So it's a dressing, but we're not going to mix it in. We're just going to drizzle it on the top. Tara, what you want? What you doing? He's checking on me. He probably thinks that he smells of food and he wants to go out. Okay, I'm going to put some scallions on top. I have a couple of scallions I washed. And also I think some hot spicy pepper would be good on this, like red chili flakes. So I'm not going to do that right now, but if you like things really spicy, consider putting some red chili flakes on top. I'm going to put just a few of these chopped scallions because I love scallions. If you don't really like them, you don't have to put them on there, but that's my thing. All right, so what we have here now is we have beautiful lettuce wraps. Who would like to eat these? What do you think? Don't they look good? Wouldn't that be nice for your potluck or for your party, especially in the summertime? And then you can pick them up just like a taco or something. So good. That Asian dressing, that peanut sauce, was really good. It has such a good, nutty and Asian flavor. I think maybe some ginger would be good in there, maybe a pinch of ginger. Yummy, I'd like those. Heather says, looks amazing, just about to go to bed in the UK, but could definitely eat one. I'd love to have you over, Emma. Let's see, Christine, Delish, thanks for sharing. Good, well, thank you. And remember also that I had my hummus. So I think what would also be good on this is I could see myself putting a layer of hummus first and then putting the quinoa mixture on top. Or what I could also see doing is I could also see building a bowl with some of the romaine. Remember we had that whole box of romaine lettuce. Put a big scoop of the quinoa garbanzo bean salad and then put a little scoop of hummus. And what a delicious meal that would be, and how good that would be to take it somewhere with you for a meal that you could eat later, because this kind of thing keeps well. So even if it sat around in your lunchbox for a couple hours, it would be good. Let's see, Julie says hummus or avocado layer. Yeah, avocado. Oh, in fact, see, great minds think alike. I have an avocado here, because what I thought about too was making a salad bowl, layering it with romaine lettuce, quinoa mixture, hummus, diced avocado, and who knows what else, anything else that sounds good. So I hope you make this recipe. I'll go back in and put the rest of the details of the recipe on the event where I originally put it. And my hummus recipe is on YouTube already. The only difference I made, hi Alice Morris, the big difference I made was I added roasted garlic instead of fresh garlic. And let me tell you, that roasted garlic hummus is really special. It's so good. And I think it was Melanie Drescher, who watches my Zoom classes, had told me that she always uses roasted garlic. So I had that in my mind for a long time. So I'm glad I finally made that. Just to remind you that Saturday is the pasta class. Let's see, Julie says, thank you so much for the inspiration. Oh, you're welcome. I got the inspiration from the conference, watching somebody else make this very dish. So I see how that works, because watching her make it made me want to make it, and there I made it for you. So Saturday is the pasta class, and I have quite a few people signed up for it, but there's always room for more. I'll be making the best lasagna I've ever made. It really is good. It's not as complicated as others that I have. I published one in my 50 recipes in 50 days. It has about 5 more components to it. This one has a few, but not as many as that one. And then the homemade pasta. Oh my goodness. The homemade pasta is out of this world. And I've even been practicing, so I'll show you my little machine. Boys, get out of the way. They're watching everything I do. They're right behind me here. So my pasta machine, excuse my mess here, because I have it right here behind me. It's my KitchenAid mixer. So I have a KitchenAid mixer, and there's an attachment that goes in. It just fits into the mixer. And there's a little way to screw it in. And so I put this attachment in there, and then you roll the dough through the attachment, and then the attachment that's on there now is for fettuccine noodles. So what I'm gonna be doing is making pasta dough with no oil, no eggs, just water and flour, different kinds of flour. Then I'm going to show how to actually turn it into pasta. And what was really surprising to me is the pasta that I made that just had nothing but flour and water tasted so wonderful. I couldn't believe it. It was like, how could that pasta taste so good? Not only that, it kept its shape really well. It didn't break apart. Like I used to make fresh pasta the traditional way. It had egg in it a long time ago. And once you cooked it, it would get real soft and fall apart. But this pasta that I made for the class stayed together. So it was really good for using it in a recipe. And we're also gonna make a pasta that has some broccoli. And I found that when I made it creamy with a little cashew cream, it was really good. But it doesn't have to have cashew cream, but that added this element of this kind of delicious creamy green sauce. And then last but not least, we're gonna take the homemade noodles and make a super quick pasta with like any kind of greens. Spinach is probably what I'll be using. That you can just walk in the door and you can make pasta from store-bought pasta. But we just take a skillet and we mix some things together and we make a delicious pasta dish with our fresh pasta or store-bought. And then I'm gonna give a bonus recipe for my Caesar salad. It's like a roasted garlic walnut Caesar salad that was in my last class that people really loved. So I'm adding that recipe to this recipe packet, and I threw in a red sauce and tofu, Italian sausage tofu, because you can always sprinkle that on your pasta, because kids a lot of times like things that have meat or something that looks like meat, and the tofu Italian sausage makes it taste like there's meat in it. So for people that are super hungry, my husband for one, he loves anything that has tofu that looks like meat on it. He loves tofu, so he'll eat that. So I threw in a recipe for that. So if you have not signed up, I will put a link to the class here in my notes. And I'm sending out recipe packets this afternoon. So if you sign up, you'll get the recipe packet sometime today. And then we'll have the class on Saturday. It's always recorded. So you get the recording as soon as the class is over, and you can watch it whenever you have time. So you don't have to even attend. Although usually quite a few people attend the live class. So I hope you attend the pasta class. I hope you make the Asian quinoa lettuce wraps. They smell so good. I tasted that one. I'm gonna eat the rest of it in a minute. I'm gonna put my hummus back on and let it get a little bit smoother. I didn't want to keep running it during the video because that's so boring. So I'm gonna put that back on, let it run for a couple more minutes. And if you're running your hummus in your food processor a long time and it starts getting warm, drop some ice cubes in it. And that will cool down the hummus so it won't get hot. So remember that tip, add ice cubes while you're processing your hummus, especially if you're doing it for 3 or 4 minutes, which is actually a good time to do it. Long time so that it's nice and silky smooth. So thank you all. I don't see any questions on here. So thanks for watching. And hopefully I can resume my bean of the week. And I've arranged to have Taro's treatments on Tuesday and Friday. So he will go in. There he is. Hey, sweetie. He will go in tomorrow, and then he goes back again on Friday. The bad thing for poor Taro is they said that the radiation will burn his skin, and he'll be really sore. And they also said it's extremely painful. So if it gets really bad, they even have to do some treatment for the treatment, like some kind of, it sounded like a mud bath or something to soothe the burnt skin. So I'm kind of worried about how he's going to be feeling after these treatments, but we'll do whatever we have to do to make him feel comfortable. He's our baby because we're old and our dogs are our babies now. So I'm sure some of you have the same thing at your house, but you know, my husband and I, you know, we see the grandkids and we see the kids, but the dogs live here and we work from home, so we're with them all the time, and they're so sweet. So, you know, they're our life, the dogs. And that's why I'm obsessed with my dogs. So I know some of you are also dog crazy or cat crazy, but I like to cook. So enjoy the food, and thank you all for praying for my sweet Taro. I do appreciate it when you send me messages and ask about him and make your kind comments about him. It really means the world to me because, you know, we're about more than what we do for work. We're about more than cooking and eating. You know, our family members are important no matter if they're furry or people. And also thank you all for all your kind comments about my Chef of the Year award. It was so much fun. I was at the Fancy Petroleum Club in Fort Worth at this beautiful dinner. And let's see, Michelle says, our pets are our life, even the goat, sending love and light to Taro. Thank you, thank you. But, you know, it made me feel really good to be in an event with a bunch of men and women, but you know, men usually get awarded a lot of these kind of things. But what was so surprising is, you guys know I cook plant-based, no oil food. That's not your typical type of food that chefs cook in this world. Nobody even can get it in restaurants hardly, right? You can barely find it. So to be recognized for making my kind of food seems just outstanding. It's just like, hey, I got recognized for making what I love to make, that's healthy, life-sustaining, disease-reversing, whole food, plant-based food that's not going to, you know, shorten your life. And that's what I stand for. I stand for healthy food. And to actually be awarded for it is like a dream come true. And people were interested in it. So I just keep doing it because that's what I like to do. But it's also nice to know that it got acknowledged by the community. So I'm going to keep going and keep doing it. So thank you all for your support, for watching me, for sticking with me since COVID. I think a lot of you started watching me back in March, or was it? Yeah, it was March 17th, 2020 was the day I went and on my first Facebook Live to do a daily video of here's what I'm cooking for dinner. And here I am still over a year later. I started a new 21-day challenge today. So that's on the Chef Julia support group. If you're interested in losing weight, really, taking some of the things that we do, the daily dozen and things, and you want to be part of the 21-day challenge, it's not too late to join. You can join anytime. It's free. And just come on there, and I post what I eat every day, and then you can, look at some of the recipes and things. So Heather Cook says, you're my inspiration. Oh, thank you, Heather. So if you want to do the 21-day challenge, I started doing it last May. I've been doing it ever since. I never stopped. So I just do a new 3-week challenge every 3 weeks. It's allowed me to lose my extra weight, all of it. I have kept my weight off. I know you can see me. I've kept all my weight off now since the beginning of the year. I'm not going to gain it back. And I eat a lot. You see what I eat. I post it every day. I'm not counting calories. I'm eating tons of carbs. Everybody I know is on some kind of low carb diet, but I eat a high carb diet. So I'm eating a lot of carbs and bread sometimes and oatmeal all the time and hummus and beans and lots of rice and vegetables and fruit, and I eat a lot of food. I'm not hungry, and I'm still losing and maintaining my weight, so it can be done. But you have to give up the vegan processed food. Watch some of the portions of things like nuts and seeds and maybe some grains. If you were like me before, I would eat way too many bowls of rice and not very many bowls of vegetables, and that's what kept me from losing weight. So, I think if you're an older woman, even an older man, but as you get older, it seems to me, and the experts may not be saying this, but I find it true that eating unlimited amounts of potatoes, rice, and grains does not help you lose weight. But some of the programs will tell you, oh, just eat all you want. And people tell me they didn't really do very well, but I like Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen because he says to have 3 half-cup servings of grains a day. And that helped me more than anything because I finally was able to lose all my weight. So if you want to join me in the Daily Dozen 21-day challenge, come to the Chef Julia support group. We have a lot of fun, and you can post pictures of your food, which is what I like about it. You don't just have to look at mine. I can see yours. So thanks, everybody, and hopefully I'll be on Friday to do Friday recap. Taro gets his treatment on Friday, so we'll see what time I have to pick him up. I might not be able to do it, but I'll be thinking about you guys, and thanks again for everything. Bye-bye. Have a great day.